Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I just finished the Legend Anthology, and it made me think about my previous video on the Fusion Cup, and I had a lot more to say about the Fusion Cup, but I still have a few things I wanted to say about the Legend Anthology, so I've ordered my thoughts. I've actually written them down and ordered them in a nice numbered list here, and I have 5 reasons as to why I'm not as big of a fan of this event as I think it could be. And I think that is the first one here, is that it's a poorly executed concept. This idea, first and foremost, Legend Anthology used to be pretty good, right? It was a slower, lower powered format similar to that of the anime at the time, focusing on that kind of style of gameplay from that era. To a lesser extent, but that was kind of the idea, was that okay, we're going to take away maybe some of the more modern support, we're going to take away some of the consistency, and you're going to play more of the slower, low-impact style of games. And I think that worked a little bit. I think the banlist still wasn't going too far, it wasn't going far enough. I think they could have taken it a little bit further. Like, people really love GOAT format and Edison format and stuff of that nature, and seeing as how the first couple of events were like DM era, and then GX era, and then Synchro or 5Ds era, they could have gone a lot further in that regard. And this Legend Anthology in particular stepped away from that very far. And I think the previous one did as well, as far as I remember. I can't remember all of them. But for the most part, we haven't seen a whole lot of Legend Anthologies. And every time they have shown up, they've been more unique. And this one really didn't do that. But on top of that, regardless of all of the other events, Legend Anthology in general, I feel like has been a concept that is just done poorly. And the main reason I say this is because I think it genuinely could have been more akin to that of like, here's an anime deck or a deck from the anime. Here's Yugi's deck. Here's Kaiba's deck. Here's Yusei's deck from the anime, like at a specific point, right? Something that you would think of like as iconic. Here's what they played. You play it against other people. Like, that could have been a really interesting style of event. Or, counterpoint, they could have also done a Time Wizard style event. Again, I mentioned GOAT earlier, but they could have just done a GOAT era event where it's like, yeah, we're going to ban a whole bunch of things and you're just going to play GOAT. Go for it, right? Like, people love the Time Wizard events. Those are probably the most popular events that they have. The problem is they only do them for dual trials. Imagine if they actually did them for full events. Nope, can't have that. That would be too much fun. Which brings me into my second point about fun, which is that most anime decks, in my opinion, are horrible to play against. They're just not fun in the slightest, because they are either wombo, combo, turbo, with a whole bunch of criminal cards thrown in there that end on an obscene end board that you basically can't interact with. Look at Blue Eyes. Because of Crimson Dragon and Baron still being around, you get to do all of that heinous shenaniganry. And all of that stuff is technically anime cards, so it's fine, right? Speaking of which, Baron not being banned is... Look, I understand, technically speaking, it's an anime card, similar to that of Lunalight Liger Dancer. I get it, technically speaking, sure. But again, that just kind of doesn't fit the theme, fit the idea, fit the concept. Speaking of which, the second thing that anime decks tend to be is floodgates. Just a bunch of floodgates, right? I mean, look at Hero, which is like 9 floodgates. It's like, oh, fun. I also like having my board skill drained in Macrocosmos. Sick, right? Which it frustrates me, right? It frustrates me because it's like, why would I want to play against these anime decks? Let alone, why would I want to play them? You know? So, yeah, there's my second point. Just none of the decks are fun. Third, I don't have a good segue for this one. Third, there are so many archetypal non-anime decks. Now, I understand we may have forgotten a few of them. Like Warrock. Totally understandable. I am a fan of Warrock. I will never forget Warrock. But this should be banned, right? Like, why can I play this? It doesn't meet the requirements of the concept of the event, so why is this playable? There's so many, like, loose ban lists nowadays with the events, right? You have Warrock that's playable. You have Ogdotic that's playable, which, by the way, doesn't have a single anime appearance. And the only thing that you could possibly say for Ogdotic is like, what about Snake Rain? But that has nothing to do with Ogdotic at all. It's technically not a part of anything else in the anime, and I believe it was used in Vinamanaga, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know why this is here. And then the weirdest one to me is Plunder. I am a huge fan of Plunder. Anytime I can play Plunder, I'm going to be happy. That being said, this shouldn't be here. What are we talking about? What? Plunder in Legend Anthology? A deck that, again, has never shown up in the anime. I believe it hasn't shown up in the manga. I could be wrong about that one, but, like, I don't think it has. So I don't know where this is coming from, and I am fairly certain it's not shown up in, like, Dual Chronicles or something like that, whatever the Chronicles are for the YouTube series. So, I don't know. Oh, but it's a solo mode deck. That's what Theme Chronicle is for, right? So, very strange to see. Not to mention all of the other random things that are not banned. Like, if we look at, for example, Voiceless Voice, right? Which is an archetype that has a whole bunch of bans. Notably, what they didn't ban is Saravis. Either of them. I was like, what? They also didn't ban, like, The Trap. They didn't ban, well, I guess Trios doesn't matter, but they didn't ban Saphira. No, hold on. Saphira, I do think shows up in the anime. I don't know if Saravis does. Maybe this is a bad example. A better example would be something like, I don't know. What would be a good example? Fairy Tail? They banned a lot of the key pieces to Fairy Tail, but they didn't ban, like, Sleeper or Wick Cat or Once Upon a Fairy Tale. And this goes to show that I think they were rather lax with the ban list, and instead of actually banning everything and unbanning some of the cards that they wanted people to play, they instead kind of just banned the cards they didn't want people to play, which I think made it so that a bunch of things slipped through the cracks, like all of these, which to me just showcases that they don't care about these events more so than anything. It's like, oh, they actually don't care whether or not these events are good, or whether or not they're fun, or whether or not people care about them. And as someone who almost solely plays the events, because why would I not? That's the point of these. If I'm only going to be able to play ranked, that's going to get boring real quick. These events are a great way to still play Yu-Gi-Oh! Without having to play just ranked. And when they're showcasing that they don't give a shit, why should I? It's so frustrating. Moving on. Oh, yeah, I already talked about that. The last major thing is that hand traps and non-engine. Things that have no archetypal synergies, have no point in the anime. I think, like, Imperm shows up in the anime. Maybe Valor does as well. There are very, very, very few hand traps and other such staple non-engine that we see nowadays in any of the anime, right? Fua, Maxi, or I guess Maxi is banned, Nibiru, Perulia, Ash, Bell, Ogre, Valor. I guess Valor does show up, so sure, you could have that one. And I think they did that in the original Legend Anthology. They were like, yeah, Valor shows up in the anime, you can have it. I think it was limited or something along those lines. I could be wrong. But the point is that, again, going back, in those earlier events, they actually did care. They did care about the ban list because they were like, yeah, we want to curate a specific event that does a specific thing. And it was cool, and it was interesting because they had that idea in mind. And now it just seems like they're throwing things together. They're like, I don't know, play fucking Hero. That's what we want you to play, so you're going to play Hero. And it's like, cool, we're going to not touch anything else. Just you play this. And it's like, oh, fun. Hooray. Right? And it's so frustrating to see that they just, again, it's just like, it's more ranked. It's more ranked, and there's not enough of a difference to play one of the other decks or one of the other events, or just like engage with it in any capacity, because it's like, oh, cool, I just played this. This feels the exact same. There's no difference. at least with the dual trial, which by the way, there's a dual trial happening right as I'm making this, which is a 1-minute dual trial where you have a minute to play the game. That's at least an idea. But the thing is, they're even rehashing those. They've just given up on the ideas department. Like, they just don't come up with anything. And it's so stupid. It's stupid, too, because they haven't done any of the stuff that they did in the first year, which were all events that people really liked. The no extra deck, the limit 1, the NR, etc. There are so many of these events that people really enjoyed that they just refuse to bring back. And it's like, that would be the easiest thing to do. Just start rehashing things you've already done. The ideas are made. Please just go back and look at them. And then the last one that I have to say is that this event, one of the things that I found similarly frustrating about this event that I did with the Fusion Cup was that the Fusion Cup felt like the previous event, right? The Fusion Cup was another Fusion event centered around Fusion Summoning, which was what the previous event was. It was Fusion and XYZ, right? And so it felt like you were playing the same event over and over and over again. And Legend Anthology, while it is technically very different in the thought process, feels very similar because we have similar decks. In this one, we have Hero and Lunalight. In Fusion Cup, we had Hero and Branded and Lunalight. It's very, very similar that the event doesn't stand out. It doesn't feel unique. It just blurred into the last one. And it's like, well, why would I play this when I just played it? So it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. Like, I can play Dark Lord again. And look, I love Dark Lord. I'm having a good time playing Dark Lord. But, like, what's the point? If I can just play the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, I literally haven't been able to not play Dark Lord since it came out in all of these events. And I understand that's probably the idea. We want you to play Dark Lord. We want you to buy the new cards. Please play our new product. And I get that. I totally do. But then why have two different events? Why not just make one big one? What, like, what, huh? It's so weird and so stupid. Why, this event lasts for 11 days. We couldn't have just elongated one of them? We couldn't have just made Legend Anthology longer or Fusion Cup longer? Like, what are we doing? It's so clunky and so dumb. And I don't know. I don't know what they want to get out of this. Because I'm bored now. And now, instead of like, oh, there's a new event. Oh, I could go play the, where is it? Where'd he go? The new dual trial. I could go play the new dual trial. That just came out. Oh, wow. I'm now bored. I don't want to play. Because we just did the same thing over and over and over again. And now I'm just looking at the dual trial and I'm like, wow, that's a really cool concept. Too bad I don't care and I don't want to play anymore. The World Championship is coming up. I should be getting hyped. I should be excited to play the game. And they just they drained me because it was the same thing over and over and over again for like 10 days. Actually, it was way longer than that. It was like 2 months, but you get the point. And the last thing I want to say about this is it's a kind of a side note. It's not really a point because it has nothing to do with the event itself. It has everything to do with these stupid raffle tickets that I think are so dumb. Bad raffle. Just a horrible idea. I don't think there was a world in which this could have gone well. Not a chance. The only way that this would have done anything for anyone is if they actually hit on the raffle, and then maybe then they would have cared. But only that person who actually was able to hit on the raffle would have cared. Because this is such a bad idea as like a concept for a thing to get as a reward that it almost feels like a punishment. I'm like, oh, great. Now I have to go to the raffle and I'm going to get crap instead of actually getting something useful. Instead, I happen to get a little bit lucky. And I did happen to get 2 SR packs, which by the way, you can't decraft. And now it just feels like kind of a slap in the face. Oh, fun. The only thing that was like good is the 1,000 gems and the UR alt art. That's it. Hooray. Right? Stupid raffle. All in all, though, this Legend Anthology, It's fine. It's fine. There are some things that I do like about it, right? For example, the concept is really good. I think the idea of playing anime decks is really nice. I think overall, like, having the new support be playable means that you kind of have to have the new hand traps. So for the most part, I don't hate that idea. I don't know. It's just an event not for me as well, which really sucks. It's like, just conceptually, I'm not a fan of any of the anime decks, which you saw in my second point, but I don't know, man. Could have been so much more. Well, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.